What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video I'd like to discuss something that is a bit of a hot topic, at least over the past month. It's a topic that's hot and cold throughout this bull cycle. We still very much are in a bull cycle, but that's kind of the purpose of this discussion, is to discuss why I believe, and maybe why you too should believe, that the bull market is alive and well. Has the bull market ended? Is it still going? What proof do we have that it has or that it hasn't? I want to go over that in this video now. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. Let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about this. So, looking at this here, and actually I want to pull this chart up after we go over the pi cycle top here. For those of you that don't know, the pi cycle top indicator it's essentially based around these two moving averages, right? The day moving averages of the 350 and the 111, okay? And I'm pretty sure it's the 350 multiplied by 2 or something like that. The ratio of 111 by 350, or maybe it's 350 by 111, it gives you that 3.141, or it's like 3.142, something like that. It's very near the pi, the number pi. I know pi is 3.1415926535897. I know that it's all that, but the pi cycle top indicator is very close. It uses two moving averages. They're very close to that. And if we look at this here, and it's the day moving average, not a moving average on the daily. 300. So no matter what, it's fixed to 350 days. It's fixed to the 111 days there. It's fixed to that. So no matter if I'm on the monthly time frame, the weekly time frame, the daily time frame, whatever, it all looks. It's all at the same areas. But anyways, going back here to the very first bull cycles that we had. Going back here, we had our very first, and it was a little bit too new really to be active here, right? We were already up above it, so you didn't have that pi cycle top indicator, or where does that cycle top indicator come in? It's whenever the orange touches the red, right? Let's see. If we're looking at it here, whenever we got this pi cycle indicator was once the orange line here, or the red line, I'm sorry, the red line crosses above the green line here. Yes, that's what it is. Whenever we have the red line crossing above the green line, that's whenever the pi cycle top came in. It was right there. Right at that instant, that's whenever we came up. And maybe it's the orange and the red line both together have to be above the green line. I'm not entirely sure. But I think the orange line will be above it. The red line's the slower one anyways, typically. Or not typically, it is. But if we're looking at this here with this pi cycle top, it came in right here on this candle. And that was, again, right whenever the red line came up above the green line. This is not the cycle top, but it was, an intermittent top in the cycle, and that was still called this top area pretty damn well. This top here, and there are a bunch of other indicators that had not yet flashed that we were at the end of the cycle. So all in all, we'll go over that in a second too, why we should not have expected that was the top. And if we see a similar scenario where we get the pi cycle top, but we don't have other indicators flashing, why we might expect an interim kind of consolidation period before we move up. But I don't think we'll get a consolidation phase like this. This pi cycle top happened here, which is 1 month after the high, or actually right there, the same month. I forgot we had a wick, double kind of top right there on a wicking basis. So right there, perfectly called this month as the high as well, right? The cycle bottoms are not perfect, but still right there, basically. I mean, you basically nailed that actually perfectly, but they're not perfect if I remember correctly. Going forward in time, we look at this top here, pi cycle top, the red line and the orange line both crossed above the green line here on this month, and that's whenever that pi cycle top indicator came in. The cycle bottom, I guess this is perfect. Damn. For some reason I remember the cycle bottom not being perfect, but same kind of idea, but crossing below the blue. Okay, and that's what you're getting here. Whenever we crossed above the green here, we had our pi cycle top last cycle. It wasn't at the actual all-time high, but still this was, I would say very comfortably that this was the end of the cycle, right? This was not the end of the bull cycle. This was the beginning of the bear cycle, right? This was just a kind of consolidation phase we had after the bull market was over. And so the pi cycle top got it right again. And again, that's right where the red line crosses above the green line. So it is the red line, not the orange line, because the orange line here was actually lower. The orange line was lower, so red line there. Cycle bottom, it didn't get it perfectly, but it got it pretty damn close. It got it pretty damn close. And I wouldn't be surprised if this pi cycle top indicator didn't get it perfectly, but it's been spot on, really, throughout its whole entire life. So just understanding that only happens once these red lines and these orange lines, really it's the red line actually, crosses above the green here. Once we get that above the green, which we're nowhere near, that's when the pi cycle top happens. Now, if you notice, going back in time as well, do you notice that this red line is never above the price action in a bull market, right? Whenever we're in this bull run here, it's never above that. It's above it here in the bear market, okay, sure, but in the bull market, the price is above the red line, right? The price is well above the green line as well every single time. So all I'm saying by that, if we point this out, is that the green line here is all the way up at $196,000. For the pi cycle top to come true, we would have to cross up. This green line is probably still going to come up, so it'll be well above $200,000 by the time these things even interact, which also would then imply that the price is well above both of these indicators as well. So the idea that Bitcoin is done, right? The idea that Bitcoin has stopped at $124,000, just so you can show, because I know I've talked about it with CoinGlass. We've shown how none of the cycle top indicators have happened, but just to put it in perspective, why this bull market really is so far from over. Anybody calling for the bull market to be done, you're farting in the wind here, man. I don't know how else to put it. It's just not good. In a bull market, these are actually the best times to buy, is when you're below these red lines and these orange lines here, which we are right now. But the idea that we come back up, we haven't seen the pi cycle top. When it happens, the price is not just going to be here. That's where the indicators will be. Maybe they're out over here. The price will be some amount of significance higher than where these indicators cross, right? Which means that Bitcoin will likely see a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 price before the end of the cycle, and that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. It's going to see a $500,000 price by the end of the cycle, but we're nowhere near that now. Okay, certainly not. We're definitely in a bullish trend overall. We are not in a bearish trend. We only flip bearish after these pi cycle tops happen, which we haven't seen yet. Okay, another thing, I was talking about how here we had two tops, and they were both accurate. They were both actually pretty accurate. We moved up at such an immaculate pace. Of course, you're going to have a top, and you had a kind of intermission here in your bull cycle before you continue to rally on. The reason why we could tell that this was not the end of the bull cycle is if you're using another indicator, the RSI, the relative strength index here. If we're looking at this on the monthly time frame, okay, on the monthly time frame specifically, if we're looking at this, you can see that every single cycle, Bitcoin has had 2 peaks in its RSI before it ends its cycle, right? Here, and if we look at this trend line here, right, you've also corresponded with this trend line every single cycle. It's the second peak after hitting this trend line that you do top off, right? Here's the second peak, and you know what? I'm not even going to draw circles. I want to put lines there. Let's put vertical lines there. Here's the second peak, right? 1, 2. Here's the second peak, 1, 2, and the second peak comes after you interact with this trend line, right? After this here, right there. And then right here, this one did not interact with the trend line, but this was your second peak, 1, 2, right? And that was where your all-time high was every single cycle. If we put these lines on here, we look at the price now, right? All-time high, all-time high, all-time high, all-time high. Was it the end of the bull cycle? No, but this did mark the all-time high. Every single cycle after you interact with this trend line, it's not the first interaction, but the second peak. And I would say second interaction, but clearly doesn't need to be an interaction. It's the second peak that determines where the all-time high is every single time. We have not interacted with this trend line. Beyond that, every cycle that Bitcoin's had in its existence has gone at least above the 90 in the RSI on the monthly time frame. We have not done that yet this cycle. This is a very bullish phase of configuration right here that we have. It's very, very bullish indeed, my friends. And I do believe that we will come up and interact with this trend line. What's beautiful about this is if we look at this, we further kind of divulge some information from this this interaction that we have with the RSI. Peak to peak here, that was a 4-month period, right? In other words, after your first peak, you had over a quarter of a year of bull market left in you. Peak to peak here, that was 7 months. In other words, over half a year, right? Here, 4 months again. It goes 4, 7, 4. Do you want to guess what the next one was? You guessed it right. You guessed it absolutely appropriately. It was 7 months. 4, 7, 4, 7. Maybe that's a coincidence. Maybe it's not. But all I presume to believe here is that whenever it comes time to interact with this trend line, whenever that is, right? We thought it would happen in June. We thought it would happen in August. We thought it would happen this month, whatever. But it's taken its sweet time to get there. But whenever it does happen, which I think will be by the end of this year, we can safely assume that we will probably have anything from 4 months to 7 months left of the bull cycle. Let's say it's December that we hit this trend line. Let's say we run up in October, we're doing great, we consolidate a little bit, and then we continue to pump into December. Let's say that's what happens, okay? It's December, and we top off in December. Hold on, let me get it right there. December. 4 months later puts us in April for Bitcoin to top off, okay? If it's 7 months, then, I mean, that would extend the cycle into July of 2026, okay? We are nowhere near this yet. And again, this is how, if we were looking at the pi cycle indicator alongside in correspondence with this RSI, we would see that, okay, the pi cycle top is in, but that's just one indicator amidst a ton of different other indicators. And this is one that I plan on watching closely, is the monthly RSI. And this here, we only had one peak. We didn't have our second peak yet. We just had one peak, right? We didn't know back then that 2 peaks is what was necessary, but we know now, right? And that's why you did not stop there, because you didn't have your second peak. You need your second peak. You need that bearish divergence or double top look. You need it, right? The stochastics this cycle have maintained their overbought look more than any other cycle before, right? We're more closely resembled to 2017 than anything else. This is actually really, really bullish, you guys. Really, really bullish stuff that we're seeing here, okay? The MACD's on another level. These indicators aren't really going to help us identify, in my opinion. They're not going to help us identify the cycle top, but I really want to just talk about the RSI, okay? And then last but not least, of course, the Bitcoin dominance. We look at the Bitcoin dominance here, you guys, and every single cycle that we've had, since this dominance charts existed at least, we have seen the dominance get below 40%, right? Does that mean that we're going to get below 40% now? No, but here we are at 58%. It's pretty damn far ways away, right? I doubt that the bull market's over here, or yeah, it's definitely not over here. Maybe at least below 50%, right? But probably not even there. We probably would go, if not below 40%, at least something that's near 40%, between 45 and 40%, right? That's the area that we would probably find our support in for our bull market, or for our Bitcoin dominance to signal at the end of the bull market's happening, right? We end these bull markets. Look here. This was May 2021. That wasn't the end of the bull market for Bitcoin, but that was the end of the bull market for a lot of altcoins, okay? April was the end of the bull market for Bitcoin. May, 1 month later, was when altcoins ended their bull market. Here, this was the low. That was in January of 2018. That wasn't the end of the bull market for Bitcoin. That was the end of the bull market for altcoins. Bitcoin ended its bull market in 2017, in December. But altcoins carried on for 1 more month. It's done that over the last 2 cycles. So if Bitcoin's projected to end its cycle 4 months to 7 months after it tops off, right, after it hits this trend line once, then it will likely be 1 month. If we're doing 4 to 7 months, and that gives us anywhere from April to July, that would mean that altcoins top off anywhere from May to August of next year, right? And probably if we're doing 4-7-4-7, it'll be 4 months, something like that, I'm assuming, right? Probably we will have Bitcoin top off in April of 2026, and altcoins will top off in May. I don't really think I have anything else I want to say. I just wanted to get all this out here. I might make another video similar to this over the coming days. I want to kind of put it together a little bit better, but I just wanted to get this information out here because I think it's also important right now to say these kind of things and show you guys why it's not just blind faith that the bull market's still going, right? I mean, sometimes you need blind faith. It doesn't have to be blind. It can be based on experience. I don't think blind faith is necessarily good whenever it comes to investing. You need to have conviction, and that conviction has to come from somewhere not blind, but well understood. But all I'm trying to say here is there's literally zero indications that the bull market's dead. And nothing, and this is just a taste. We could go over every freaking indicator we want to show, and they'll all show the same thing, that we're nowhere near. But these are just some key indicators that I'm going to pay attention to going into the end of the cycle. And that RSI especially, we're going to be putting everybody on notice that we have a 4-month window to 7-month window of the bull market being lifted. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Isn't that a nice perspective right there, right? We're going to hit this trend line. It's going to be in the midst of a massive rally. We're going to be doing phenomenal. It's going to be, Bitcoin's unstoppable. All season's blooming. We're just in that finale phase, full go. And we're going to be like, you know what, guys? We've got over a quarter of a year, if not over a half a year left in this. We haven't even gotten to that point yet. And 4 months to 7 months of time extended after that, that's awesome. That's pretty damn awesome. We're assuming that that's what happens. We'll correlate it with the pi cycle top. We'll correlate it with the idea of getting 2 peaks, 2 significant peaks. But until that happens, I'm maintaining the idea that it's going to be a 4 to 7 month window before that bull market's over. We haven't even gotten above 90 once this cycle. So hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. The dominance is too high for it to be the end of the bull cycle. The pi cycle indicator is too low for it to be the end of the bull cycle. The RSI is too low for it to be the end of the bull cycle. We have not seen, the euphoria is too low as well. We haven't seen these dramatic upswings in a very short amount of time like we've seen every single cycle before, even last cycle, which was a pathetic weak cycle, honestly. This cycle will be the first, and I've long prophesied, I've long predicted that this cycle will be the first bull cycle in Bitcoin's history that outperforms the prior cycle. So $500,000 or bust, that's what's going to happen in April or May. Okay, take care. Bye-bye. See you on the next one.